Have you ever stopped to think that 95% of who you are today is a program from the past? In our daily lives, we're so caught up in habits and emotions that we don't even realize how much this limits our lives. But what if I told you that meditation, as taught by Joe Dispenza, could be the key to unlocking a new reality? Imagine being able to reprogram your mind and emotions, transforming not just how you think, but who you really are. In today's video, we'll explore the power of meditation and how it can take you from an old, tired self to a renewed and vibrant version, exactly as Joe Dispenza describes in his teachings. The effects of meditation on the mind can be summarized as a process of transformation. Imagine there's an old you and a new you. This isn't about overnight change, but about going through a process of transformation. By the age of 35, 95% of who we are is made up of subconscious behaviors. Automatic habits, emotional reactions, perceptions, and attitudes, essentially a program. To initiate change, we need to activate 5% of our conscious mind. You can try to think positively as much as you want, but if you feel negativity, that can be a barrier, especially if you've felt that way for the last 30 years. The mind and body often don't align. You could have the best vision board in the world, full of everything you desire, but if you don't feel worthy, your body and mind will oppose that idea. The goal is to retrain the body to align with a new mindset. Here's the old self, and here's the new self. Change begins the moment you decide to stop thinking in one way so you can act and feel differently. This immerses you in the river of change. The hardest part of this transformation is avoiding the decisions you made the day before. We generate between 60,000 and 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those are the same as the day before. The same thoughts lead to the same decisions, which in turn create the same behaviors, generating similar experiences that provoke the same emotions. These emotions influence our thoughts over and over again, and our biology, neural circuits, neurochemistry, neurohormones, and even genetic expression remains unchanged. There's a principle in neuroscience that says neurons that fire together wire together. If you keep thinking the same way, making the same decisions, and having the same experiences, you're forming neural networks and patterns that reinforce this familiar sensation we call self. This connects your brain to a very limited reality, which becomes your identity. It's like locking your brain in a box, though the box doesn't physically exist. It's the result of neural connections, thoughts, behaviors, and emotions fixed through repetition. So the way you think, act, and feel defines what we call your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's all there is to it. If you want to create a new personal reality and a different life, you need to transform your personality. This means reflecting on your thought patterns and modifying them. You need to become aware of your unconscious habits, behaviors, and what you say, and make the necessary changes. It's also crucial to observe the emotions that keep you anchored in the past and decide if those emotions should be part of your future. Most people try to forge a new personal reality without changing their personality, which doesn't work. It's essential to become a different person. Meditation in this context means familiarizing yourself with yourself. When you meditate, you observe the thoughts operating in the background of your awareness. Often, we're so distracted by our surroundings that we don't notice these thoughts. Meditation is an opportunity to get to know yourself better, to understand your impulses and tendencies. The body may want to move and act, but you train it to stay still, recognizing that you are the mind, not the body. This way, you bring these conscious behaviors into awareness and become familiar with them. This meditation process helps you get to know yourself. If you can observe the emotions that drag you into negativity, you can note them without acting on them. This act of observation means you've stepped out of the habitual program. You become the awareness that observes the program, starting to objectify your subjective self. You see yourself from an external perspective, meaning you're no longer tied to your old self. Instead, it's your pure consciousness observing. This is the first step in meditation. We must shed light on the darkness by becoming aware of how little conscious we've been in allowing unchecked thoughts, behaviors, or emotions to pass. If you sit to meditate and wonder about compassion, how to improve, or how to change your life, observe your thoughts and how they relate to your mind. You start examining the behaviors needed to live this new life, and the act of mentally rehearsing begins to transform your brain, taking you from living in the past to projecting into the future. In other words, by practicing mental rehearsal, your brain adapts to the idea that this experience has already happened. You're installing new software in your brain that prepares it for the future. If you repeat this enough, it becomes familiar. If you can cultivate elevated emotion before the experience happens, then, while the materialist expects wealth to make them feel abundant, the quantum model is based on creating that effect. You experience your worth and abundance before they occur. If you can replicate that elevated emotion, be it healing or wholeness, and do it repeatedly, that emotion becomes familiar. In this meditation model, change requires unlearning and relearning. It's an effort to break the old habit of the self and reinvent yourself. Neuroscience supports this transformation, establishing new synaptic connections, rewiring while releasing stored emotions in the body, and conditioning the body to a new mind and new emotions. It's not about activating the same genes the same way, but activating new genes in new ways. You need to release past energy to invest in the future. Using the meditation model is crucial so people can disconnect from their external environment, closing their eyes and removing distractions around them, like people, objects, and places. Their brainwaves will start to shift, drawing attention away from the outside world. The way we think can imprison our biology. A woman once woke up paralyzed from the waist down, unable to get out of bed. She was taken to the hospital, where she underwent MRI scans and other tests. However, nothing was found. The diagnosis was neuritis, and she was confined to bed, unable to work or take care of her children, so her mother had to move in to help. Without a job, her financial situation deteriorated, and the stress only increased. This altered state released substances in her brain that deregulated her body, activating genes in a dysfunctional way. In the following months, she developed ulcers on the mucous membranes of her body: mouth, throat, stomach, bladder, and vagina. The wounds were so severe that she couldn't eat. Her body was in complete imbalance and pain. When she realized the gravity of the situation, she went to the doctor and found out she had esophageal cancer, which further increased her stress and the fear of leaving her children motherless. She attended one of our workshops, and I remember seeing her using crutches and a wheelchair positioned on the left side of the room. It was an introductory course, and she realized she could change intellectually, but she knew she faced a challenge. She was touched by the content, and as a psychotherapist, she understood the language. Months later, she returned to a workshop in Connecticut, near New York, accompanied by friends. At this incredible retreat, I pushed her harder than usual, and she had a breakthrough. For the first time in a year, she saw a clear and inspiring future. It wasn't just a visualization, but an intense vision that moved her. Back home, she began to meditate daily, regulating new genes and turning off those related to illness. Even on days she didn't feel like meditating, she persisted. She had moments of doubt, but kept up the practice. Over time, she noticed changes in her health. One day, in front of everyone, she revealed, "My doctor found no evidence of cancer in the esophagus. There are no ulcers in the mucous membranes, just a small scar in my throat. I have no paralysis or numbness, and my motor functions are normal." Additionally, she found a new partner. At that moment, I realized she had assumed a new identity. The past resided in her old personality, but now she was a transformed person. I asked how she felt recalling her experience, and she replied that it was her best lesson. I asked if she still felt emotion when remembering, and she said no. I explained that a memory without emotional charge means wisdom. It was proof she was ready for a new life. Passionate about her existence, she decided not to stop meditating until she felt completely connected to life. A realist might say she had no reason to feel such passion, considering she had lost her husband, job, and the ability to care for her child, besides facing cancer and paralysis. Nevertheless, she decided to condition her body for the future, not the past, publicly declaring, "I am in love with life," to which I replied, "You created it with love." Determined not to be defined by her past, she worked daily on her self-development, overcoming limits to create a new version of herself, shedding masks and blocks that limited her inner intelligence. Every day she connected more deeply with the power within her, and gradually she received the right instructions, restoring her health from sick to healthy. She represents the light and is closer to the truth than many scholars because she lived the experience. Thanks to her testimony, other cancer patients found strength to change their lives. I asked how she fought against the pain. Philosophy discusses this, but it is challenging to transcend pain when one is ill. The difficulty is that emotions dominate the body, creating a cycle. Imagine someone who has poorly managed emotions and lifestyle for a decade, resulting in a condition. Genetics change and the body becomes ill. One doesn't heal in a few days. The process requires repetition and understanding. Like fishing, you catch the fish when you notice a change. That's all you need to move forward with safety and passion. Practicing meditation daily alters brainwaves, transcending the analytical mind. By reaching this state, you free yourself from worries. You are pure consciousness, merging with something greater, creating real changes. By meditating when ill, you learn to transcend the body, which stops being the mind, starting reprogramming. The effects are slow, requiring time and practice to regulate and modify brainwaves, transcending space and time. This is essential for healing. In every moment of overcoming, the body is educated, receiving energy from something superior. This process requires training. When you transcend yourself, you see magic happen. At first it may be hard, but persist without assessing your state. This requires development and patience. It's a law. Changes come with time and practice. The placebo effect is an example. Patients who receive a placebo may improve by believing they are being treated, activating an internal pharmacy. Healing doesn't come from the placebo itself, but from the thought it represents. Ask yourself, do you need medication or a new mental state? Instead of the known, choose the unknown, and repeat until your body understands it. Depression studies show that 8% of those using a placebo have responses comparable to those taking antidepressants, activating internal chemicals. Even though the studies require weeks of use, changes in the brain occur. This process is based on beliefs and emotions. The way we think and feel creates attitudes. Positive or negative, it forms beliefs that become subconscious. Analyzing behaviors, we observe beliefs. If someone believes they need something external to heal, this manifests. Examples like the placebo effect show that many accept diagnoses without question. Today, many research alternatives, consult new doctors, and keep the desire for change. For these students, we measure their progress because, in a healing journey, it is important to evaluate progress and, if necessary, intensify practices. Checking data and tracking results can guide treatments. Pharmaceuticals, like medications, play a crucial role in helping people recover their health and restore the body's chemical balance. The big challenge is that we are often not informed of the true power we have. If all information were revealed, product and medicine sales might decrease. This raises questions about the real efficacy of certain drugs and makes us reflect on which studies are published and which are rejected for lack of robust evidence. For example, out of 38 studies done on a drug, only 18 or 19 are published, while the others, which do not show favorable results, end up not being disclosed. Today, with easy access to information, we can seek knowledge on our own. We accept and believe thoughts that align with our emotional state, but it's important to reject those that don't. When someone receives a diagnosis of diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, cancer, or diabetes, it's common to feel fear, sadness, and pain. Even if they try to be positive and believe in healing, the present fear prevents these thoughts from turning into actions because they are not in tune with their emotions. For someone to change their emotional state, it is essential to reach a state of gratitude. Gratitude naturally arises when we receive something of value. As this awareness expands in our minds, we move from a selfish to a more altruistic state. This transformation is noticeable as we free ourselves from emotions that keep us tied to the past and move our energy from a material to an energetic state. This releases our energy, opens our hearts, and makes us feel connected to something greater. In this state of fullness, we feel a desire to share this joy, because when we are complete, the desire to give is natural. For me, this is the natural state of human beings. Disease cannot coexist in a state of fullness, and I firmly believe everyone can achieve this state of well-being, making it a constant experience in their lives. To access what we call the supernatural, we need to act in ways that may initially seem strange. At first, the change may be uncomfortable, with a feeling of uncertainty about what comes next. Many people quickly return to familiar feelings and behaviors, seeking comfort, but the best way to predict the future is to create it. The ability to generate change from the unknown can transform our lives. It is supernatural to give when there is scarcity around us, to show compassion in moments of anger, and to express love and strength when fear surrounds us. If we persist, what once seemed artificial will become natural. We are at a crucial moment in history, where many seek answers and secretly believe in the infinite possibilities life offers. It is at this moment that our will aligns with our inner intelligence, when our mind connects with something greater, and our love for life harmonizes with the love for life around us. There begins our journey of self-discovery and transformation. As Joe Dispenza teaches, changing the way we think and feel is not only possible, but essential to recreate our reality. By meditating, we not only observe our thoughts, but also detach from the emotions that imprison us in the past. You have the power to create a new version of yourself, aligning mind, body, and spirit. If you commit to meditation daily, you will notice changes in your mind, emotions, and life as a whole. Remember that transformation doesn't happen overnight, but is built with each small choice, each moment when you decide to connect with your true essence. So what are you waiting for? Take the first step on this journey of self-discovery and transformation. Leave your comment below, sharing your meditation experiences or expectations for this practice. Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any content that can change your life. Thank you for watching.